Washington, AP. Supporters of abortion rights took to the streets across America on Saturday to make clear their anger at the prospect that the Supreme Court will soon strike down the constitutional right to abortion. Cries of my body, my choice rang out as activists committed to fighting for the legal protection that has endured for nearly a half-century. Incensed by a leaked draft opinion suggested the conservative majority on the court would vote to overturn the landmark Roe v. Wade ruling, activists rallied to express their outrage and mobilized for the future as Republican-led states are poised to enact tighter restrictions. In the nation's capital, thousands gathered in drizzly weather at the Washington Monument to listen to fiery speeches before marching to the Supreme Court, which is now surrounded by 2 layers of security fences. The mood was one of anger and defiance. I can't believe that at my age, I'm still having to protest over this, said Samantha Rivers, a 64-year-old federal government employee who is preparing for a state-by-state battle over abortion rights. Caitlin Lauer, 34, of Washington, wore a black t-shirt with an image of the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's deceased collar on it and a necklace that spelled out vote. I think that women should have the right to choose what to do with their bodies and their lives. And I don't think banning abortion will stop abortion. It just makes it unsafe and can cost a woman her life, Lauer said. A half-dozen anti-abortion demonstrators sent out a countering message, with Jonathan Darmo shouting into a microphone, "Abortion is not health care, folks, because pregnancy is not an illness." From Pittsburgh to Pasadena, California, and Nashville, Tennessee, to Lubbock, Texas, tens of thousands participated in Bands Off Our Bodies events. Organizers expected that among the hundreds of events, the largest would take place in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles and other big cities. If it's a fight they want, it's a fight they'll get, Rachel Carmona, executive director of the Women's March, said before the march. Polls show that most Americans want to preserve access to abortion, at least in the earlier stages of pregnancy, but the Supreme Court appeared to be poised to let the states have the final say. If that happens, roughly half of states, mostly in the South and Midwest, are expected to quickly ban abortion. The battle was personal for some protesters. Tasha Cummins, who traveled 80 miles to attend the Chicago rally, said she fears for women in states that are ready to ban abortion. She said she might not be alive today if she had not had a legal abortion when she was 15. I was already starting to self-harm and I would have rather died than have a baby, said Cummins, a massage therapist from Rockford, Illinois. At that rally, speaker after speaker told the crowd that if abortion is banned that the rights of immigrants, minorities and others will also be gutted, as Amy Eschelman, wife of Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot put it. This has never been just about abortion. It's about control, Eschelman told the crowd of thousands. My marriage is on the menu and we cannot and will not let that happen, she added. In New York, thousands of people gathered in Brooklyn's Courthouse Plaza before a march across the Brooklyn Bridge to Lower Manhattan where another rally was planned. "We're here for the women who can't be here, and for the girls who are too young to know what is ahead for them," Angela Hemlett, 60, of Manhattan, said to the backdrop of booming music. Robin Seiden, who traveled from Montclair, New Jersey, for the rally, said the nation was a place abortion rights supporters have long feared. "They've been nibbling at the edges, and it was always a matter of time before they thought they had enough power on the Supreme Court, which they have now," said Seiden, 65. The upcoming High Court ruling in a case from Mississippi stands to energize voters, potentially shaping the upcoming midterm elections. In Texas, which has a strict law banning many abortions, the challenger to one of the last anti-abortion Democrats in Congress marched in San Antonio. Jessica Cisneros joined demonstrators just days before early voting begins in her primary runoff against U.S. Representative Henry Cuellar. The race could be one of the first tests over whether the court week will galvanize voters. In Chicago, Kirsten Nyquist, a nurse toting daughters ages 1 and 3, agreed about the need to vote. "As much as federal elections, voting in every smaller election matters just as much," she said. Saturday's rallies come 3 days after the Senate failed to muster enough votes to codify Roe v. Wade. Sponsors included the Women's March, Move On, Planned Parenthood, Ultraviolet, Move On, SEIU and other organizations. Sharp reported from Portland, Maine. Associated Press writers Don Boblin in Chicago, David Porter in New York, Paul Weber in San Antonio, and Jacqueline Martin and Anna Johnson in Washington contributed to this report.